Can a fashion ranking truly shake the hierarchy of global culture? Or are we witnessing a rare moment when the Western industry, perhaps unintentionally, acknowledges that the center of gravity of the world's taste has shifted? That question suddenly feels relevant, even urgent, when Esquire USA released its list of the 50 most stylish men in music, and placed one name that has long been debated, adored, and underestimated in a position that can no longer be ignored: Jungkook of BTS, ranked at number 11. Yet it is not merely the number that has left the world momentarily silent, but the long shadow cast by the big names that now, symbolically, stand beneath him. At first glance, the list appears to be a routine annual feature of a lifestyle media outlet, a compilation of taste, aesthetic curation, and narrative snippets about self-expression among musicians across genres. But when a post by the fanbase account at Jungkook on platform X spread like wildfire in a dry season, the atmosphere shifted. Thousands of interactions appeared within hours. Likes piled up, reposts cascaded, and the comment section transformed into a space of collective emotion. There was pride, there was surprise, and there was also a peculiar silence from parties that are usually vocal about Western dominance in global music and fashion. Why did this single ranking feel different? Why did the number 11, at a glance seemingly not the top, feel like such a forceful statement? The answer lies in context. Esquire USA is not merely a fashion magazine. It is a Western cultural institution with a long history of shaping narratives of masculinity, taste, and aesthetic authority. When a publication like this elevates a K-pop idol, a genre that for years has been positioned as an alternative, a regional phenomenon, or even an industrial product, into the ranks of the global elite, what occurs is not just personal recognition, but a symbolic shift. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS known as the Golden Magne, now stands shoulder to shoulder with musicians who for decades have defined style on the world stage. More than that, he surpasses many of them. Esquire in its description does not mince words. They write that Jungkook set himself apart from his peers through his solo debut Golden in 2023, an album that achieved massive commercial success. Yet the following sentence becomes the key. His music may not be challenging in an experimental sense, but his personal style reveals an impulsive nature and a willingness to take risks. This is where the narrative shifts. Lip rings, piercings, and full tattoos on his right arm, elements once considered taboo within the neat and sterile landscape of K-pop, are now highlighted as markers of aesthetic courage. In a single paragraph, Esquire seems to dismantle old stereotypes about Asian idols and positions Jungkook as a figure who challenges norms rather than follows them. But why is this so surprising? Hasn't Jungkook long been known as an icon? The answer lies in the quiet resistance that has accompanied his success. Behind sales figures, billions of streams, and consistently sold-out stadiums, there has always been a counter-narrative. That K-pop's influence is temporary, that its style is tightly curated by agencies, that true originality remains the domain of the West. This Esquire ranking, with all its implications, fractures that narrative. It does not shout, but that is precisely its power. It is an acknowledgement that comes from within a system long regarded as exclusive. Jungkook's style itself becomes a compelling case study of how a new global identity is formed. He is neither entirely Western, nor confined within conventional East Asian aesthetics. Distressed, loose flannel layered over oversized Balenciaga t-shirts, relaxed baggy jeans, experimental Mahara Yasuhiro footwear, all of these form a fluid visual language. On one side, he references Western haute couture. On the other, he embraces Asian streetwear with an almost defiant confidence. His support for relatively lesser-known Korean brands like F8 Chemical Club reveals another dimension: the courage to elevate the local onto the global stage without bleaching it to make it more acceptable. The nickname Sold Out King is not merely fandom hyperbole. With more than 50 million Instagram followers, every piece of clothing Jungkook wears becomes a scarce commodity. This phenomenon is not only about fans' purchasing power, but about how one person's taste can move global chains of production, distribution, and aspiration. In academic terms, this is a tangible example of the cultural influence economy, where symbols and identities carry economic value beyond the products themselves. Jungkook does not simply wear clothes. He produces meaning. ARMY's reaction to the announcement also reveals an emotional dimension that cannot be ignored. Comments such as "Jungkook has the coolest fashion style," or "King Jungkook is the coolest person ever and his fashion style is just perfection" may sound simple, but beneath them lies a sense of collective validation. For years, fans have watched their idol push through boundary after boundary, often without equivalent recognition from Western mainstream media. Now, a single ranking becomes a kind of written proof that this symbolic struggle was not in vain. Yet beneath the euphoria lies a deeper, more unsettling question: which names now sit below Jungkook on that list? Esquire does not need to spell them out explicitly to create a shock effect. Readers who understand the global music landscape know that the list includes rappers, rockers, and pop icons long considered untouchable. When Jungkook is placed above them, what collapses is not merely an individual ranking, but a long-standing assumption about who is entitled to define style. This achievement also marks an important moment in the post-military enlistment era. Rather than fading, Jungkook's influence appears more consolidated than ever. He proves that a physical hiatus does not equate to a symbolic one. In a world that moves fast and forgets easily, his ability to maintain relevance points to something more fundamental. He has moved beyond the status of a temporary idol and entered the realm of a global cultural figure. Thus, when Esquire USA places Jungkook at number 11, the question is no longer why he is there, but why it took the world so long to acknowledge him. Is this the beginning of a new phase, where the center of global taste is no longer concentrated in a single part of the world? Or is this merely an anomaly that will soon be normalized so as not to disturb the status quo too deeply? The first chapter of this story ends with one certainty: the silence that followed the announcement of that ranking was far louder than any applause. That if a style list were merely about clothes, then Jungkook's placement at number 11 might have passed as a light piece of news, quickly forgotten. But what happened was precisely the opposite. There was a strange pause after Esquire USA released its list, a symbolic silence that felt unsettling in a digital world usually defined by noise. There were no official rebuttals, no open debates from mainstream Western media, nor lengthy analyses from the old gatekeepers of the music fashion industry. That silence itself became a clue, because in popular culture, silence often signals one thing: a shock too large to be immediately processed. The names implicitly displaced by Jungkook's position were not minor figures. They are musicians long regarded as embodiments of masculinity, rebellion, and authentic style within Western definitions. Rappers whose street aesthetics have shaped global imagery over the past decade, rockers whose visual legacies are embedded in music history, and pop soloists frequently treated as trend barometers. When Jungkook, a K-pop idol born from a system often criticized as artificial, is placed above them, what trembles is not merely individual ego, but the collective framework through which authenticity itself has been understood. Esquire subtly challenges long-standing notions of what it means to be real. In its description, the magazine emphasizes authentic self-expression as the common thread of the list. And it is precisely here that Jungkook finds his momentum. His choice to wear a lip ring, piercings, and a fully tattooed arm is not merely an aesthetic decision, but a statement of identity within a K-pop industry known for polished control and visual restraint. He does not reject the system that raised him. Instead, he stretches its boundaries until they nearly fracture. From a cultural perspective, this is a complex negotiation of identity, far removed from the idea of an instant product. Jungkook's style is also inseparable from the increasingly fluid reality of globalization. He stands at the intersection of West and East, of haute couture and streetwear, of established luxury brands and Korean labels that were virtually unknown before he wore them. When he appears in Balenciaga, the world nods. It fits existing expectations. But when he promotes F8 Chemical Club, a Korean brand with a relaxed and experimental approach, what occurs is a redistribution of attention. The global spotlight shifts toward spaces that once existed at the margins. In this sense, Jungkook does not merely follow trends, he relocates their center of gravity. The sold-out king phenomenon reinforces this reality. Every item he wears is not only sold out, but often becomes the subject of discussion, analysis, and speculation. Why does a simple t-shirt transform into a status symbol? Why does an unconventional pair of shoes suddenly become coveted across continents? The answer lies in the emotional relationship between Jungkook and his audience. With more than 50 million Instagram followers, he does not simply display fashion. He invites millions to feel part of the same narrative. This is an economy of affection, where consumption is driven by closeness and identification rather than utility alone. Fan reactions on X further illustrate the depth of this resonance. The post by @JungkookCrave_ became a convergence point for collective emotion, a space where pride and justification intertwined. For ARMY, Esquire's recognition was not merely external validation, but an official confirmation of what they had long believed. Yet for more critical observers, those reactions also reveal something broader: a latent tension between global fandoms and Western cultural institutions. When recognition finally arrives, it is met with euphoria, but also with a bitter awareness of how long it took to come. Notably, Esquire does not frame Jungkook as an exotic phenomenon or an exception. Instead, it places him within a universal narrative of style and risk. By describing his music as not particularly challenging, while highlighting his visual boldness, the magazine suggests that Jungkook's relevance does not hinge solely on musical complexity, but on the consistency of his identity. This marks an important paradigm shift. For years, non-Western musicians have been judged by double standards, expected to do more to be considered equal. In Jungkook's case, Esquire chooses to see him as he is, and it is precisely there that his strength lies. Yet sharper questions begin to surface. Does this ranking signal a permanent shift? Or is it merely a symbolic moment that will soon be absorbed and normalized by the old system? The history of popular culture is filled with examples of appropriation, where what initially disrupts is eventually absorbed without altering power structures. Jungkook now stands at this dangerous crossroads. On one side, he is living proof that K-pop has surpassed the status of a fleeting trend. On the other, recognition from Western institutions always carries the risk of domestication, where uniqueness is softened to become more palatable. In the post-military service phase, Jungkook's position grows even more compelling. He returns to the public sphere not as a figure seeking validation, but as an established symbol. This Esquire ranking adds a new layer to his image, not just a successful singer or a member of a phenomenon-defining boy band, but a global style reference. In this light, the number 11 ranking feels almost ironic. It is high enough to be impossible to ignore, yet imperfect enough to invite debate, and perhaps that is precisely where its power lies. The names placed above and below Jungkook on the list are now woven into a larger narrative, one about shifting tastes and symbolic power. Each time the list is reread, each time discussion resurfaces on social media, the same question will linger. If Jungkook can reach this point, what exactly is changing in the world of global music and fashion? The list offers no final answer. Instead, it reinforces the idea that the greatest shock of this ranking is not who won or lost, but the growing awareness that the old map is being redrawn, slowly but unmistakably. At this point, an unavoidable question emerges on its own. After all the uproar, after the number 11 has been repeated across headlines and social media timelines, what has actually changed? Has the global fashion and music landscape truly shifted? Or are we merely witnessing a symbolic moment that feels monumental because it has been so long awaited? This is where the story of Jungkook and Esquire USA's ranking becomes far more complex than a simple matter of personal style. That number 11 position, when viewed coldly, is not the top spot. Yet it is precisely for that reason that it feels so provocative. Jungkook is not positioned as an untouchable exception, too perfect to be questioned, but as part of a living hierarchy, one that can be challenged, analyzed, and debated. Each of those debates extends the lifespan of this narrative. Every person who asks, "Why is he there?" indirectly acknowledges that he deserves to be discussed within a global context. In popular culture, being talked about is often more valuable than being crowned outright. For Jungkook himself, this achievement feels like a natural continuation of a journey he has built gradually. Since the early days of his career with BTS, he has grown under intense scrutiny, shaped by a strict system that nevertheless gave him a global stage. What is striking is that Esquire does not celebrate Jungkook as a product of that system, but as an individual capable of stepping out of its shadow. By highlighting his impulsive and risk-taking side, the magazine underscores a process of artistic maturation that often escapes the broader public's attention. Jungkook is no longer seen as the youngest one, but as a figure who consciously chooses how he wants the world to see him. The symbolic impact of this ranking also extends beyond the fandom. For the fashion industry, Jungkook is proof that influence no longer depends on a Western background or a long-established history in rock and hip-hop music. He demonstrates that emotional resonance, authenticity of expression, and visual boldness can build a new kind of authority. For the music industry, this is a reminder that the boundaries of genre and geography are increasingly fragile. A K-pop idol can become a global style reference without abandoning his identity. ARMY, meanwhile, sees this moment as a validation of what they have long felt. Yet there is a new maturity in how this achievement is being celebrated. Not only euphoria, but reflection. Many fans recognize that recognition of this kind comes with consequences. Sharper scrutiny, higher expectations, and the potential for harsher criticism. Jungkook now occupies a space where every step he takes is read as a signal, not only by fans but by the industry itself. Perhaps that is the greatest surprise of this Esquire ranking. Not the names he surpassed, but the realization that Jungkook has moved beyond the phase of proving himself. He is now in a position where his mere presence is enough to unsettle long-standing assumptions. The world is no longer asking whether he deserves to be on the list, but what his presence means for the future of global music and fashion. As the camera slowly shifts to the next headline, the number 11 ranking will remain as a marker in time. A moment when the Western industry, perhaps without grand intention, opened a small crack in an old wall. And through that crack, one name from Seoul stands, calm yet undeniable, waiting for the world to realize that major change often begins with a surprise that appears deceptively simple.